Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. We are Noble Development. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we would like to take you through an introduction of our company, as well as the company's performance over the last couple of quarters and our vision for the future. So, who is Noble? We are a developer that was founded in the 1990s. We've been listed on the Stock Exchange of Thailand since 1997. Since inception, we've had 49 residential projects with a total development value of 90 billion. As of October 31st, we have 19 active projects with a total value of 34 billion Thai baht. So, perhaps I should start by telling you a little bit about our goal over the next 3 years or so. If you look, the company has actually recently undergone a structuring at the shareholder level, which I will talk more about. But before 2019, the company is looking at annual revenue of roughly 5 billion, with launches of roughly 2 projects a year, and a margin of 20%, net margin of 20%, which is one of the highest in the sector, with a return on equity of roughly 15% and a interest-bearing debt to equity of 1.8 times. This year, we have broken new grounds. We will be hitting a great deal of records, which we'll talk about in a moment, but we're looking at revenues of roughly 13 to 14 billion. We've launched 2 projects as well as a lot of existing inventory. Profit margins have remained relatively steady at 17 to 18% and a return on equity of over 30%. All of this while maintaining our interest-bearing debt to equity of 1.8 to 1.9 times. Over the next 2 to 3 years, we expect this situation to remain fairly steady as we begin to rebuild our pipeline, rolling out 4 to 5 projects a year with annual transfers roughly 10 billion. So a little bit about the shareholding structure of the company is relatively straightforward. Myself, through an entity called Crown, owns 24.9% of the company. Mr. Thongchai Busrapan also owns an equivalent amount. Our partner, BTS Group Holdings, who's the operator of the SkyTrain in Thailand, owns 9.9%. Other public investors holds 40% of the company. So, in terms of the management team, I am one of the co-chief executive officer of the company, along with Mr. Busrapan. We have 3 chief business development officers whose combined tenure at the company is more than 60 years, and Kunvit is our CFO. So, our corporate strategy for the next 3 years, what's our focus? We can break down our initiatives into 5 different areas. The first is that we have a great deal of completed inventory sitting on our books. And over the last year or so, we've been very focused on divesting our completed inventory. And this includes both residential inventory from previous projects that we've completed, as well as commercial property, as well as a number of land plots which are no longer core. So in the past year, what we have done is we've been very focused on divesting our inventory with more than 10 billion of inventory, and also land plots and commercial property divested. Going forward, we still have roughly 5 billion in terms of inventory and commercial assets that we'll be looking to divest. These assets have been set at book value and ones that we've held for quite a while. So we believe that it's a great way for us to continue to monetize our balance sheet and really sweat our book. In terms of the second initiative, we would like to redefine our product mix so that we're able to cover a broader segmentation of the overall market, from the mass market to the high end. Thirdly, we would like to really expand overseas. This is one of the key areas of growth of the Bangkok condominium market over the last couple of years. We would like to continue to do that, with the end game that foreign buyers should account for roughly 30 to 40% of our sales revenue. Over the course of this year, we've made huge strides in this area, and we expect to be able to continue to do so going forward. Fourthly, we would like to strengthen our capabilities and know-how by partnering with strategic partners in different segments of the market. And fifthly is to really diversify our portfolio from the Thailand market so that we are better able to manage the cyclicality of the overall market by investing overseas. Equally, we see this as a great way to leverage Noble's strong brand in the Thai marketplace as we look outwards and look for strategic investments, particularly at the moment in the UK and also in Japan. So I will talk more about each of these initiatives in the coming slides. So in terms of the first one, as we said, we have roughly 5 billion of additional inventory that we'll be looking to divest over the coming year. But 2019 has been really great for us in this area, where we've divested a lot of existing inventory at very strong margins. And in terms of our inventory concentration, historically, Noble has been very much focused in the high-end segments of the market, very central Bangkok, and this has proven to be a very strong strategy for us over the years. However, going forward, we are also looking to broaden our focus so that we are also focusing in the mass market area with average quantum in the area of 3 million to 5 million baht. And we've taken the first step in doing that with the launch of our new project. Actually, pre-sale started last week, which is New Sinakaran, and that's mainly in the 2 to 4 million range. Since launch, we've sold roughly 50%, 50% of the projects in the course of a week, which has proven to be very strong, both overseas and also with local buyers. And we'll continue to focus on different segments of the market. It's not that we will abandon the high-end market. It's just that in addition to the high-end market, we will also be very much focused in the mass market. So on the next slide, you can see our brand pyramid. We will continue to leverage on the traditional Noble brand, but in addition, at the mass market end of the pyramid, we will be launching for a new brand, NUE, to target areas which is maybe further away, but in transportation hubs. In terms of still within the high-end segment, we have just announced in Q3 a joint venture with Hong Kong Land, and we'll be working jointly with Hong Kong Land to launch a project roughly 8 billion in terms of gross development value for a plot on Wireless Road in the center of the city, across from Hong Kong Land and Central Group's Central Embassy development. And within the mass market, we have, of course, a very strong partner and shareholder in the BTS Group. And of course, for us, we will also be looking for opportunities to partner with them in various areas in terms of looking for developments within mass transit hubs in the city, so as to expand the proposition of the new brand of products. Overseas sales, that's always been for the last year, it's been a very interesting segment. This is an area where we've really broken new grounds. Up to the third quarter of the year, we've generated sales of roughly 3 billion from the overseas market. If you compare on the slide, compared to other quarters and previous years, we've really been able to generate very strong sales. I would also say that when we talk about 3 billion pre-sales, most of our buyers, in fact all of our buyers, would pay at least 50 to 30% of deposit. So this is not a wholesale arrangement. This is really us reaching through our distribution network of distributors across 9 countries in Asia, and we really sell, when we look at the sale, it's a true sale to an end buyer. So compared to the entire year of 2018, we did roughly 2.4 billion in overseas sales. In the first 3 quarters of the year, our current overseas sales volume is roughly 3 billion, and of course we expect this momentum to continue. With this shift, our market share in the overseas market has also increased substantially this year. Although the overall overseas market have probably slowed down as a result of the strong baht, as a result of potentially macroeconomic concerns overseas. Nevertheless, we have grown in terms of market share. We've really made huge strides. Based on our estimates across different distributors and different developers, we have roughly 35 to 40% market share based on our sales this year, making us the market share leader in terms of the Bangkok overseas sales market. So at this point, I would like to pass to our CFO, Kunvit, who will be telling us a little bit more about the operational performance and the financial performance of the company.
Thank you, Khun Frank. So basically, let me pick up where Khun Frank left off and start about the operating summary and followed by the financial performance, particularly third quarter and 9-month period. So starting from the operating stat here, basically, if you look at as far as the property play is concerned, what we normally focus is the backlog, which is how we can ensure to the investor during the next 2 or 3 years the visibility of the revenue and earning. As you can see, as of end of third quarter, we have around 18.6 billion baht worth of backlog to be realized within the next 3 to 4 years, and which can be broken down into the right hand side of the slide. So you can see it's breakdown into like 2019. We plan to record around 28% from the 18.6 billion baht and so on and so forth throughout 2020 until 2023. But bear in mind, this is based on the construction progress, and sometimes we can find a way to smoothen the revenue and earning profile. So that's the reason why but the overall visibility is there to recognize around 18.6, and not to include the inventory in which we also have more than 15 billion worth of project value, which remain to be sold during the course of 2 or 3 years as well. And that's the first key figures. And the second one is more like pre-sales. If you look at the overall sales this year, if we carve out the extraordinary item, which is the divestment of the land, and carve out it around 8.7 billion baht. So the pre-sales as of third quarter, which is like 9-month period, is around 5.3 billion baht. Bear in mind, we haven't, to be fair, during the course of 9 months, we haven't had the official sale launch. We just started to have the first one last week, and we record, as Khun Frank mentioned, more than 50% pre-sales. So if we foresee the full year pre-sales, taking into account the first project that already been launched and the second one which still remain to be seen whether we can launch end of this year, or if worst case is to shift to beginning of next year. If we take into account altogether, we comfortably record more than 6 billion baht worth of pre-sale this year. But next year, we can show you the next slide as to the new project that we plan to launch, which is the project that we already secured the land as well. So the revenue on the mid of the graph here, we record by far around 12 billion baht. So we are on course to reach more than 14 billion baht this year. And this is pretty much to give you more detail about the backlog. So we always divide the status of the property into 3 status. The first one is complete inventory, which is the one that once we sell it, we record the revenue right away. So basically right now we have like 4 projects in which we plan to recognize throughout next year. We have like 5 billion baht worth of project value which can be realized throughout next year and probably 2021. And the other one is the pipeline project, the project that we have the satisfactory pre-sales, and then we already start the construction, and some of them reach 90%, some of them around 1/3, kind of 33%. But having said that, that will be spread out throughout 2020 until 2022 mainly. And the last one is more like new project, which is the one that we started to launch this year, and official one to launch already this year. So State 39 and also the new brand, which is the Sinakarin Rasal. And then we also record some decent this, for example, the Sinakarin, that's based on end of October, which is last month. But as Kun Frank mentioned, based on the real time, most updated figure, we already reached more than 50% mark on this project. And just to give you the detail of each status, starting from inventory. So as I mentioned, we have around 5 billion worth of project value to be sold. So we have like around 5 project high rise and 2 project. This is on the single detached house and also the town home and duplex home as well altogether. And the second status is like pipeline, which we rank in picking order in terms of the expected transfer period. So starting from the immediate one, which is what we call Noble Recall, located in Sukhumvit 19. That one we plan to start. We started to transfer from this quarter onwards. So we should be able to recognize the revenue, which is around 2.5 billion baht during the course of couple of quarters onwards. And the other one is like Noble B, we call Noble B 33, located in a prime location in Sukhumvit 33. The sale progress is quite satisfactory, almost 80%. Project value is almost 3 billion baht. This project we also start to transfer this quarter and should run until 3rd quarter next year. And the other one, as I said, is ranked by the transfer period. So Noble B19, this is the adjacent project along with the Recall project. We doing a good job so far, reach 60% mark on the sale progress. Development progress has also intended around 54%. So we expect to start to transfer based on construction completion around 3rd quarter onwards next year. And another allocation is Sukhumvit 42. We have sold around 89%. The development progress is 15%. So we will start to transfer 4th quarter of next year. And again on the Sukhumvit 33, which is the next door of the B33 as well, the project size is around 2.3 billion baht. Sale progress is 73%. So development progress has been around 25% again to transfer next year. And the other one is actually it's the first ever new project for us is located in Chang Watthana, which is a cluster of the new urbanization and also the hub of the government agency. So that's the reason why we did a good job so far, which we can sell around 89%. Development progress is around 33%, which will start to transfer by starting from 2021. And the last one on the project pipeline is the Noble Arari. We just got the EIA after long delay process, but the sale has been made since last 2 years or so. That's why we reach around 66% on the sale progress. But development progress will start to do it as of now. And that's on the project in the pipeline. And the new project, which is the one that we secure the land and we will periodically launch a project in the optimal time. So starting from the Noble Sinakarin, we launched it already actually last week, and we plan to deliver the project by 2022. The other one is more like the low hanging fruit for us because we renovate the existing project. We call it 10, originally known as 10 Phase, which is the boutique service apartment and hotel. We renovate. It's located in the prime location as well. It's called Room Rudy. So we rebrand it and plan to launch under the new brand so-called Noble Above, which we can launch it if not end of this year, then it will be beginning of next year. Around 1 billion worth of project. And the other one is State 39, which is also the very good project in the very central Bangkok location in Sukhumvit 39. The project size is also decent one, 3.6 billion baht. It will be the brand new project to be launched. And also Ngam Wong Wan, this is another new kind of portfolio in which it will be spread out into the new urbanization. This one is more like in the western part of Bangkok. It's called Ngam Wong Wan area, so around 2 billion worth of project. And also the same for Pran Nok, which is another new area for us to capture. But one thing in common for this new brand project is it will be always located nearby mass transit. The upcoming one, which already been on the plan. So this one we start to transfer 2023. So by the time that the project will be transferred, the mass transit will already be there. And Thong Law. And while we are focused on the new project to cover or to widen the more affordable customer base, we still leverage on our high brand Noble, which is the one that in Thong Law 18. So we hope that we can launch next year as well. And last but not least, this is the JV project in which it's the first time that we started to have the strategic partner. This one is we team up with Hong Kong Land. We're doing some high profile project. We already sold the land to the JV company last quarter, and then we already record decent gross profit margin as well. This project alone worth around 10 billion, in which effectively we hold 76% on this project. So it will be starting to launch third quarter of this year, and we hope to transfer the project in 2023. 26%, right? Oh. So that's pretty much on the operating stat. So let me move on to the financial performance. And as I said, we focus on the 3-month period and 9-month period, and I tend to focus on the longer duration anyway. Starting from third quarter, we record around 7.6 million baht, which can be broken down into the land divestment around 6.8, and also the normal business, which is around 0.8 billion baht. But if you look at the 9-month horizon, we record the normal cost of business around 3.6 billion baht, which you can see some growth year-on-year basis on the 9 months compared to around 3.2 billion baht worth of the residential sales. This is thanks to the again periodic sales of inventory we have done from time to time, in which we can record and realize the revenue right away. But from this quarter onward, we plan to also record the project in the pipeline, which can be smoothened again throughout and every single quarter. And on the profitability, we break down into gross profit and net profit, and try to break down into normalized and the blended kind of margin as well. You can see on the overall picture, the gross profit margin on the throughout 9-month period. You can see the average one, which is the one shown in the financial statement. We record around 38%, 37.5%. To be exact, but it can be broken down into the residential sales around 37.2%, and also the land and commercial property around 37.75%. That's from, again, we try to balance the profitability and also the asset turnover by nature. That will optimize the return on equity to the shareholder at the end of the day. Because previously under the old Noble, we may not compromise on the profitability, so that's why it's a bit slow in terms of the inventory movement. But from now on, we plan to balance it to free up more cash flow and reinvest in a new project as well. And The other one is more like net profit margin. Again, we also break down into the normalized net profit margin and also the blended one. For the blended one, we record around 21.6%. For the residential sales alone, we carve out some of the extraordinary items we record under the land divestment out. It turns out to be around 13.4%. That's on the 9-month period. But what we foresee for the latest view from the full year basis, we are confident that we can go back to our which is around 17 to 18%. Thanks to the two projects that we plan to transfer this year, which generate higher margin, i.e. more than 40% overall. And this is to compare the profitability analysis with the peers. Basically, we still doing okay compared to other competitors, around 37% worth of gross profit margin. And back to the balance sheet a bit on the financial status. What we plan to ensure is obviously we need to grow up the business while maintaining the financial discipline. So that's why we keep an eye on the key covenant, which is the net gearing has to be lower than 2.5. Our internal policy obviously try to keep it below 2 times. Third quarter onwards, third quarter alone, we keep it below 1.5 times. There's some complication here whenever who see the financial statement in third quarter. Basically we declare the dividend before the end of the quarter, so that's why the auditor record it under what we call dividend payable, which is part of the liability, and effectively deduct the same amount of the money from the retained earning as well. So on paper it already takes into account the dividend, which will be, by the time it will be paid on the mid-October, which already been done anyway. But again, when we see how we try to balance between the business expansion and also to reward back to the shareholder by way of dividend, so it has to be from the cash flow from operation. Obviously, the cash flow, part of the cash flow from operation will come from land divestment, in which we make sure that we maximize the value. We believe that that's part of the strategy to free up the cash flow, and part of it is also how we can monetize the commercial property. We already done one project in which it's called office area in our Noble complex located in Pranjit. We already sold to BTS once in the BTS subsidiary around 800 million baht already in Q2, and we are about to close the transaction for retail area in prime location in Thong Lo to one of the independent REIT, which will happen in a matter of days. And a bit on the debt profile. So now we have like two type of the liabilities here. The fixed rate bond around 5.5B, and the rest are project finance, which is more like the floating. But now I think we don't have any immediate concern on the increase or the rise of the interest rate anyway. It will be maintained. Right now, the Bank of Thailand already slashed the key rate around 25 basis point, and the same has been implemented by most of the commercial bank here. For example, the MLR has been reduced by the same amount just last week. So that's why our cost of fund will automatically be lower by 25 basis point as well. And the bottom left, we will show you how we can manage financial flexibility. We still have undrawn facility, which is the one that we haven't drawn from the bank, around 6B. So it's kind of how we ensure financial flexibility. The cost of fund, obviously we hover around 4.6-4.5%. So we hope we can lower the cost of fund by rolling over the bond next year, in which we have like around 2.5 billion to be rolled over next year. So it's spread out quite nicely. The absorption for the bond market for us should be okay, around 2.5B maximum each year. So financial costs should reduce in tandem. And a bit on the CapEx, which is more like the one that we can foresee right now. So by far นะครับ 2019 we spent around 1.5 B on the land นะครับ around 4 billion on the construction and also we take into account some equity capex in which we made with the JV so this one refer to the one that we made with Hong Kong land around 540 million baht so altogether is around 6 billion worth of capex throughout this year นะครับ and it will be always there นะครับ around 6 to 7 billion this is kind of optimal and optimum level to grow up the organic kind of business growth and we still have some room นะครับ to do some inorganic acquisition in the future as well นะครับ so this is to give you some details so we already refer some of the let's say the last row of this page like dividend payment we just paid like 5.2 baht per share นะครับ last October so we expect to see the dividend to be paid during the next 2 or 3 years นะครับ it depends on cash flow operation but what we see the visibility is quite high นะครับ and the chance of paying the high dividend is also quite foreseeable นะครับ so but everything will be paid from the cash flow from operation นะครับ so that pretty much it about the presentation we leave some for the Q&A นะครับ
Okay, thank you, Kunvit. I shall then maybe go through the questions that I have on here and we will try to address them the best we can. First one, for condominiums in Bangkok, what is the percentage of Thai customers versus foreigners? How do they pay for the units, in cash or with mortgage? So I think we can obviously only comment for ourselves. In terms of our bookings for this year, foreigners account for roughly 45-50% of our total bookings. And I think that this year is a little bit special because there is a lot of existing inventory at Noble that we were able to take to the overseas market. And that to some extent has resulted in a higher foreigner proportion. Overall, we are looking at something like a healthy proportion will be something like 30 to 40% foreigners, and the remaining should be from Thai customers with hard demand. In terms of in cash or using mortgage, I think we see also a divergence between the local customers and foreigners. For local customers, I think we also see a shift with the new LTV rules with a more focus on cash as opposed to mortgage. But for foreigners, what we see is that very rarely would they purchase using mortgage. Roughly 80 to 90% of our purchases tend to be paid with cash. Second question, do you have any expansion plan to other major provinces? If yes, what is the barrier of entry? Any potential competitors? I think that for Noble, we believe that insofar as Thailand, we would like to be focused in Bangkok, although instead of just being very focused in central Bangkok, we would like to move outwards to greater Bangkok, where we believe there's ample opportunity for growth. And these are the areas where we see the greatest genuine demand. So within Thailand, this is where we would like to be focused as opposed to looking at other cities such as Chiang Mai and others where we have not seen real indication of demand. Question number 3, what are you doing to increase liquidity in your shares? Kunvit, maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I think to be honest, from the management point of view, obviously we try to improve the bottom line performance, of course, and try to deliver consistent. That by nature increase the popularity of the attractiveness of the stock. Obviously, part of the plan is we try to do more non-deal roadshow, obviously with the rise of local funds and obviously part of the broaden the perspective of our shares. That's probably part of the how we can improve the liquidity. So right now we are about to have some non-deal roadshow with local fund, which will happen next week, and also we also plan to do more on the local retail investor roadshow, but with some assistance from the local broker, and also obviously when it become the right time, then we will plan to do the roadshow in foreign country, particularly the Singapore and Hong Kong as well.
Okay, thank you. For the next question, we have demand for condominiums will be affected by tougher lending rules and a slowing global economy. What is your view and how will you react on this matter? I think that, first of all, I think 2019 globally has probably not been a great year, but this is also the same year, or at least for the first 3 quarters of it, Noble had its best results in history. So I think that what we have in terms of value proposition is something that is really unique. In addition to very strong operational capabilities, financial discipline, but in terms of our brand and our recognition in the marketplace, our overseas distribution strength, these are things that we believe will really set us apart. If you look at the new launch projects that have been launched recently, compared to our competitors, our percentage of pre-sales would hover in the 50 to 70% range. Looking at our pipeline, we've got a weighted average of nearly 70%, and compared to the industry, this is much, much higher. So despite that, we believe that there will be headwinds, but because of our strengths and value proposition, we will obviously be in a position to benefit as the industry goes through fluctuations and changes. In terms of the Thai market, as we said earlier, one of the things that we would like to do is, in addition to the Thai market, we would like to be looking at overseas markets so as to better manage cycles. And so we believe that we see a lot of Thai customers purchasing properties overseas, but a lot of the time there's hesitation because they don't know the end market well. So we believe that our know-how and also the strength of our brand would again create something that is unique to Thai buyers as they begin to make their investments overseas, as we see that it's still at the nascent stage and foreign investment in the property sector will continue to grow. The next question is, in your view, what would be the key growth drivers for the property sector? I think we can break this question down into different segments. First of all, I think clearly in the past, we see a lot of demand from the overseas customers as they look at Thailand as one of the strong performers in the ASEAN region. The base is still low. There is a strong emerging middle class, and and the need to diversify has driven their investment decisions. According to a survey that was done by GY, Thailand is one of the hottest areas to invest for Greater China buyers. And so we believe that this will obviously continue to be a key factor for growth. Second is a increasing demand for investment properties. And this is something that we're beginning to see. Occupancy across Greater Bangkok for condominiums has been increasing, and we believe that this will continue to happen at the retail level. As we market, we hear a lot of customer feedback in terms of what are expectations on investment yield, etc. And we believe that this will continue to be area of growth. And thirdly, and probably the most importantly, we believe that the overall hard demand for condominiums in Bangkok will continue to grow in the coming years. And so, although there may be fluctuations and there are short-term factors such as lending rules, LTV, etc., in the medium to long term, urbanization is something that continues to happen in Bangkok, and condominiums demand continues to grow, and so we believe that this will be, over the medium to long term, the strongest driver for growth. In terms of, the next question asked is about the overseas sales outlook in 2020. So the overseas sales is very driven by the number of new launches that we have in the coming year. So in the coming year, just looking through the slides that you saw earlier, we have 8 projects, 7 to 8 projects that we're looking to launch in 2020 with a combined sales value of 20 plus billion. Of course, some of these are joint ventures, 2 of these are joint ventures, and the remainder are our own. So but based on gross level, we believe that overseas sales should be about 30 to 40% of pre-sales. So if I had to guess, we are really looking at a 50% growth, roughly, in terms of the overseas sales compared to 2019. In terms of the next question is about the company's dividend policy, any potential to increase the dividend payout. Kunvit?
I think as we always keep focus on นะครับ so the dividend amount will be always benchmarked with the earning profile every single year นะครับ so it has to come with the profitability from the business. That's the first one, and the second one is obviously as long as we have cash flow from operation, then we can pay to the shareholders. But when we benchmark, at least I think we can deliver from the dividend yield point of view, right? If we benchmark with the peers, right, it's over around 6 to 8%. I think we can achieve that feat, if not higher.
Okay, so I think these are all the questions I see on the screen. If there's nothing else, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for your time.